Nobody can tell you there's only one song worth singing. You feel ya. This hangs 'em up to see someone like you. But you gotta make your own kind of music and sing your own special song. Make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. You're gonna be nowhere. The loneliest kind of lonely. It may be rough going just to do your things, the hardest thing to do. But you gotta make your own kind of music and sing your own special song. Make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. So if you cannot take my hand, and if you must be going, I will understand. You gotta make your own kind of music and sing your own special song. Make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. Gotta make your own kind of music and sing your own special song. Make your own kind of music, even if nobody else sings along. Ooh, hit me with your best shot. Hello. Hi, everyone. How are you all? Hope you're all having an amazing day. I'm alive. I'm awake. I'm here. My hair has been a pain in the ass, and it's been really curly at the front again. How are you, Kylo? How are you, D? How are you both doing? Thank you for the lizard. I did hear it. It fucked me up right at the start of the song as well. Because, you know, I like singing like the first bit of the song right at the start. So, how are you both? Hope you're all both having an amazing morning. It's almost midday. So, hope you've both been having a great time. Playing some Val, you know, fair. That's what I'm going to be playing as well, to be honest. I should open one of my windows probably because it is going to get warm in here really quick. I might take my jumper off as well. That might actually help instead of being fucking boiling. I might turn my light down as well. Very harsh shadows all over my face. There you go. Let me take my jumper off. I'll be right here. Wasn't doing that on stream. Not doing a show for anyone. I'm playing a Hypixel, but I will be here to reply to things and moderate. Fair enough. Well, it's good to see you again because we haven't actually spoken ages, to be honest. But I'm all right. Like I said, I'm going to be starting to play some Valorant today. I did want to stream like every week, at least once, and last week I couldn't. I've been around and shit. Yeah, I've been around and shit as well. Mostly working. Been hanging out with other people as well. But yeah. It's been a bit of a shit time. But I'm here to have fun. That's what matters, really. I actually like try and set everything up as well before I start my stream. At least I know my sound alerts work. Well, everything should work. It's me. I sort my OBS out way too fucking much. I've got everything in different scenes and everything's nice and tidy. I technically could show you what my OBS. Oh, that's not okay. Let me do this one instead. Display capture. Let's do this one. Start it. Yeah, this is my OBS. How about not? So everything's sorted out in a nice way. Yeah, I still have a cough, so you're going to very much hear coughing all day, or as long as I stream. So that's gonna still happen. But basically, my entire cold and shit's gone. I've not played Valorant in like maybe 2 years. It wasn't the last time you played it. It was with me, or was it with Sav? Or I know I've seen Sav playing a bunch of different stuff in like Discord calls. When I've like seen the like activity feed on Discord. Where is my Discord? It's there. Yeah, like active now. And I see you on there playing Skyblock on Hypixel. For the weekend, back for the day. But the stalker. Hope your game's good. I keep guessing no comms today. Jesus. To be fair, I'm the person who won't be giving comms in game. I'll be like pinging and typing it in chat, but I won't be actually talking in games because that's just a me thing. But I am doing a ping. Not that word. Pinging. I know what you like doing then, don't you? Yes, pinging. Pinging. Yeah, I'm doing a redeem to join, so absolutely. Yeah. As I was saying, I'm doing a redeem to join, so if you've got 5,000, you could use channel points to join the game. Now, I've put down in like the description, depending on like how many people there is. So if there's many people, it'll be like 5 games, and then the next group of people could come in. But I don't think that's ever gonna fucking happen with me. So well, with 4 people, because I wouldn't be kicking myself out. So, but yeah. Also, I may or may not have already bought the new Champions bundle. I keep spending mine on Lizard. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Like, that's why I've put it there on channel points. But like, there's so many good ones in my channel points. You don't have to just use Lizard all the time. I've got some amazing ones in there. Because like, yes, Lizard is cheap, but there's like another one that's cheap and it's even better. There's another one that's cheap that's also really good. I've gone through mine and just like, give me these. And then I've got, if you ever hear me in a Discord call, got the wee cat. So if I join you in a voice call, no matter what, you'll hear a wee. Deadpool Dance is mostly a video. Got Pedro on there. Like, we've got like Dumb Ways to Die, You're the Best. Let me do it for you in the air tonight. I've changed some of them around to make them look actually nice, and then just some of them I just left on B. Wee wee wee. Wee wee wee. Like, here's the wee 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 cat. I'll play it for myself. Wee wee wee. Wee wee wee. The good ones, but hit me out, lizard. Yes, I know that's. Why do you think I've added that? And I've added that to friends ones as well. Lizard, lizard, lizard. But there's two like right near lizard that I haven't actually had anyone play yet, and I added them because they're absolute bangers. Do I need to turn my music down anymore? I think my music is actually at a good level on stream, but it's not in my ears. But I'm going to get into a game. Because knowing me, I will continue to chat side-eye. Bombastic side-eye. You should add the Dexter theme? What the fuck's the Dexter theme? Lizard, 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 lizard. Lizard. See all the not what memes? The fuck are you on about? The fuck is the Dexter theme? Look, if you look at mine, I've got the fucking bear in the big blue house. Hi Pixie, how are you? How's your day going? Hope you're having an amazing day. And technically it's now midday for me. Is that Pixie? It is. But this is the most mods I've seen in my chat since I stopped streaming. I wish that I could be like the cool kids. I'm gonna reshuffle my playlist because I'm a slapper bitch. Oh, that's great. But how is your morning going, Pixie? It's like what? Wait. It's like 7 AM for you. Can I watch Pixie? Just open your eyes, Jesus. What is my eye doing? As soon as I stream, everything just... my body just hates me. But how are you, Rose? How are you doing? Hope you're having an amazing day. I was lurking your stream the other day because I was busy, but I hope you and Loki were having a great time on Val. Oh. I'm having to put my headphones on now. Okay, what a great start. I have to get ready for Renaissance Festival. Ooh. That sounds fun. That's got like swords and shit, isn't it? Well, I hope you're gonna have fun there today. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun as fuck. Loved it. Nice. Swords and shit. Yeah, swords and shit. Paranormal circuit? My brain doesn't work with words that I can't spell without reading it. But I see paranormal and I love ghosts. So New Age circus. Ah, fair enough.
My camera is destroyed.
Of course. Yes, love that. It's my first game on. It's my first game on. I'm playing like shit. And plus, I'm playing on my own level now because I always play with people who are lower ranks than I am. This is just one. Yeah, exactly. First game on. I have got a kill, so it's just like, yeah. So it's wait, is it said how it's spelled, like Cirqueam? Brain at work. I need to get back used to streaming because it's just like I always feel awkward when I'm playing when I stream now.
Yes, this should do. That goes there. This goes here. Oh, this is a nice one.
Just do a 12-hour. That'll certainly wear the shoes. And to be fair, I was thinking because I'm off work for holiday soon. Lizard. Of course, I love that game. Thank you for listening, Jim. How are you? How's the day going? Hope you're having a great day. It's pronounced Cirque. Fair enough. Yeah, Comfy Kai's Kylo. Yes! I wanted this one! Shut up, game!
Last player standing.
Your true identity has been revealed. Only way through. Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. Now it's time to go. Well, hey, I say, well, that's okay. So we'll see you very soon, I know. Soon, I know. Friends, goodbye. The moon, the bear, and the big blue house, waiting for you to come and play.
Camera taken. You're probably afraid. My ultimate is ready. Where is everyone hiding?
One enemy remaining. Spike down A.
Okay. Yes, everyone looks absolutely gorgeous today.
Switching sides.
Stay alive. I want their lives, not yours.
Yeah. I don't really want to listen to this song, to be honest. My baby don't mess around because she loves us all, and that's not for show. Really wanted to see me come out the door. But I'm glad you're good, Natrium. And thank you for the big blue house. I absolutely loved that as a kid, so it's always good to listen to it.
No prisoner.
Together, don't know how. Yeah, as I was going to say, because I'm going on holiday soon. On holiday, I'm not going anywhere. I've booked it off. But pretty much. I'm on a holiday over the next just over 2 weeks for my birthday, obviously.
Spike down mid.
Careful now.
Oh, you think you got it?
Here. I have retrieved the spike.
Last player standing.
Nothing is forever.
Planted the spike. My camera is destroyed.
Of course. Love this game. Hey, hey, oh, I'm missing stuff. So we're listening to the English version. To be fair, yeah, I've always known it as the English version, so it's just kind of like a, yeah. There was a sweet. I know there's like a lot of different versions of TV shows, because it's like, especially like the Bear in the Big Blue House, because it's like puppets.
This goes here. Camera taken out. My ultimate is ready.
Okay, love this game. Blip, bleep, 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 bloop. Yours correct version? I think there was this.
Spike down B.
Version of the song. There's just like there's a lot of different versions of the songs out there. Even just like normal songs, there's so many different versions.
One enemy remaining.
What how does it applied?
30 seconds left.
I have the spike.
You're so tired. What have you been doing? It's the morning. Well, it's midday. It's now the afternoon, but it's 12 o'clock. Just
My
below.
ult ready.
Oh, Reina's dead. I went out last night and didn't get home until 4 AM and I only slept like 4 hours. Jesus. So yeah, understandably tired. You can always go back to bed. I know like some people actually can't. I can't. I wish I could. I'm so Pixie, you've just woken up. What do you mean you're tired? If you're tired, go back to bed as well.
It's you and me. Enemy down. Where is everyone hiding?
One enemy remaining.
Yay, I did something. By force, not choice. Oh yeah, we got the Renaissance. Renaissance. Well, what time does the Renaissance start? It's not that early, is it? I've never been to one, so I have no idea.
That goes there. Yes, this should go.
There is a curse not safe for work version in Swedish that floats around the internet. Jesus. Are you gonna rob it? Do I have to stop at the bank? Oh. I missed that bit. It's an hour drive.
Your duty is not over.
Cage trigger.
Still in sight.
Enemy remaining.
Yay, I did something. Just let me scope it out before you rob it, jeez. There is an ad break. It's never too long. No. It has been revealed. How did I MVP? I don't understand this game. It was my first game on, and I MVP. Ads are now ended. Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad I've got like the shortest ads I could possibly do. I don't get much from it, but at least it's the shortest ones. I don't know how I MVP'd, honestly. It's strange. This game is very strange. Let's get it. Oops, it says it's raining. Is it raining? Yes, it says raining.
Match found.
Sorry, I'm taking a Snapchat. It's raining men. Hallelujah. It's raining men. Amen. I want to go out. That was good. Absolutely soaking wet. I'm gonna put this song on and then shuffle again. Any cute ones? No. I wish. There is no controllers at all. Guess I'll stick with my bearded baldy then. Don't you love your bearded baldy though?
I wonder if they have any parts I can salvage. Implants. I need those. This goes here. Oh, this is great.
Boing, 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 boing. Stab. Even if he's a pain in the ass. Yeah, but that's what makes lovable, isn't it?
Hey, yo, what? Never mind, bro. Dinosaur nugget, bro.
Of course, there's two of them there. That's fine.
Took that bitch right to the face, huh?
I'm tempted just to mute these people already.
Don't spy.
Alright, token spike.
That goes there. Yes, this should do. This goes here.
I love it when my eye needs a rub. That can be taken so out of context.
Multiple enemies B.
must wait a moment.
Yeah. Alright, I'm muting them.
Click your enemy.
Great time.
Filled with a
So fun.
Oh, this is a nice spot. Yes, this should do. This goes here.
Bum 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 ba da dun 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 dun.
My ultimate is ready.
Bow, 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 bow.
Our spike carrier is killed.
Spike down B.
Okay, love that. Love that my aim just stops. Got my nails done. I'm obsessed with them. They look so cute. Ooh. I wouldn't know what to look for or what
Remaining.
is good with nails. I eat mine, so I don't eat them. I bite them off.
Last round before the switch.
We lose our money after this.
Tried so hard to get so far. The end, it doesn't even matter. I got fake nails right now.
This goes here.
Are you not? I mean, my link's been posted, so you can easily rejoin my Discord. Why, it doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, sounds fine.
Last player standing.
Great. I give up. They all rush down mid, and then everyone dies except me.
Switching sides.
Their teeth will chatter in the cold and dark.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
I know, like, my Discord hasn't been used very much, but, like... Missed you a while ago. I had too many Discords and yours wasn't active, so I told you I'm still here for you, but I won't be in your Discord. Yeah, but you can always rejoin. It's still not active, but, you know, just... Or you can just DM at me and I'll send it in media instead. There's no offense, but the quality of that picture looks terrible. Okay, well... Reyna body blocking me. What is your point in that? Yeah, I can't actually see what the nails have on them because of how blurry it is. Oh, there we go. It's got little flowers on them. I had to zoom in the picture for it to actually look nice.
Oh, this is a nice spot. This goes here.
They're just pushing mid constant. Let's go. I'ma hold it up. You full of something, but it ain't love. What you got is straight overdue, so find somebody new.
Last player standing.
Why?
Camera taken out.
Planted.
Yeah, I give up on this fucking game. My team is shit. Snails. Well, let's see your nails, Pixie. Send it in media and we can have a look. Oh, I'm done. I'm moving. Your lips are moving. Your lips are moving and your line, babe. Your lips are moving. If your lips are moving. And your line, babe. Hey, baby, won't you bring them tears? 'Cause it's too late, babe. Oh, in your ear. Do you have? Have you seen my Discord status? No, I have not. To be quite honest, are we even friends on Discord? You're there. Don't mind the hand that visual says. We are friends. That's funny. Where's I goes with your tongue and your place? Sweetheart, saying now you're number one. No, you're lying. So I'm moving, baby, don't you know I'm done? Is that focused on someone, or is it just something that you wanted to put in your bio? I feel like that's definitely focused towards Loki. No, in Loki, do that. With your tongue, I give you praise. Just something I heard and it was funny. Fair. Looks like they go in there. So I'll do that one. Yes. Yeah, post is mine. Let's have a look. Oh, it's kind of like a stitched up like blanket kind of like look. It looks good. See through.
Here. No more charges left.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
God damn it! Fuck's sake! I might have went over my nail budget by 90. Fucking hell.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Also, why the fuck did I just get a 4K?
That goes there. Yes, this should do.
No, it went over by 90. So whatever your original price was, it's gone over that by that much. What? Why are you spending that much on nails?
Boy.
Yeah, okay, my aim was shit there. But doesn't understand. It's cuteness. I mean, yeah, I can understand it's cute, but not for that price. I mean, I don't paint my nails. I don't do anything with my nails, so it's kind of like a. Like, I'm the wrong person to talk about nails with, but also that is excessive.
Last player standing.
Fuck me, I'm woman trained, but fucking hell. To be fair, I've spent £100 on my hair before. And hi Ugo, how's your day going? Hope you have an amazing day. Nope, don't need that gun. I can go that gun.
Oh, this is a nice spot. I will find you.
Why? What are you doing to your hair? It's a haircut. Like, the only reason I spent 100 was because I was getting my hair dyed and toned. Or hair bleached and toned.
Spike down A.
Okay, I'm by myself. Oh, why is Jet AFK? Oh no, the DC'd. Okay, that's great. Love that. Sounds are expensive, especially in the city. I mean, I know that. Why do you think I spent 100 on my hair before? Even though normally I just spend about like 15. And that's rarely. I rarely spend any money.
Yes, this should be. Come on, guys. We gotta see. That goes then.
That's styling. Can I help you?
Here. My eyes are down.
My ultimate is ready.
Where is everyone hiding?
Spike down A. One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
What the fuck? I thought they went out the door.
Switching sides. Point.
I mean, I get the hairstyle one. It's just the nails I don't.
This goes here.
Like I've said, I've spent money on my hair. You're coming at me. I know it's a haircut and a hairstyle and wash and dry and shit. I don't do it. I do my eyebrows at home.
I must weave my web better.
Go to garbage.
I wonder if I can knife them. Nope.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
Okay, love this game so much.
Attackers win.
There's two streamers and the other team as well. I don't ever put my link in the chat. I probably should do it more, but yeah, no. I obviously do a lot of my own stuff at home. I don't get my hair cut at home. Or when I dye it and, well, bleach it and tone it. I don't do that very often anyway. So most of the time my haircuts are about like £15. And on most of the time they come out shit. Even though I go to a barber, not a hairstylist. See you too. Spent. Well, wait, I will wait for you. Suppose that's not. But despite hair.
Match found.
See, it's always like that. Every time it's good, and I just keep cutting it down. Like, I know a lot of the time when I've had a haircut, after a little while, it actually comes out better after it's grown out a bit. It's like, I don't know what pictures I've got from when I had my haircut. I don't even know when the last time I got my haircut was. Yeah, so this is gonna be horrible trying to fucking face, hair, that still has bits of blonde in it. So I got the blondes cut out. And then I didn't take a picture of myself much after that because my hair was so fucking short. Like literally the next time I took a picture was like the 15th of August. Those pictures, or the picture of where my head was blonde, that was June. So between the 11th of June and August, what day was it? August 15th, I somehow got my hair cut and my hair looked absolutely shit. Then, this is going to be awkward because it's not straight. Neither am I though. Let me fix it quickly, hold on. Change to position. Like, my hair is a bit sticky up here like it normally is, but that's kind of the length that it is now. My hair's gotten a bit longer since then though, and now it's just a mess per usual.
Yes, this should do. It goes here.
Jesus Christ. But to be fair, my hair now, I absolutely love, like, mostly. My main issue with what my hair is when I go from long to too short. Because I went from like, because people who have been here for a long time know I've had curtains and I had a fucking little man ponytail at one point.
Look at bro.
player
And of course, there's still one just watching there. That's fine. I don't care. But yeah. Like, let me see if I can actually... I know I have pictures of what my hair used to look like. So, this is 2020 me. I was literally... I first started college. That's me. That's what my hair used to look like. I had that for years. I had that hairstyle for absolutely so many years. I don't even know how it was that straight when my hair now is like this. Messy and curly.
enemy remaining.
Then I started to do curtains and I absolutely hate how it actually looked when I did it. Which I'm not going to show you those pictures because I'll absolutely look horrible in it and in them as well. I've got so many pictures of Kylo still on my phone as well. Then let me actually just do my quick setup.
This is a nice one. That goes there. Yes, this should do.
Okay, Jade.
This is a good one. Then my hair went to that, which wasn't bad. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy having long hair.
Our spike carrier is
Spike down mid.
Oh, really? Why are people running out small for?
Player standing.
Then it got a bit too long and then I had it cut. But where is the pictures between that? That absolutely looks terrible and I hate it. I'm not going to show you these pictures of me with my hair back because my forehead is absolutely horrible. But then
He needs me. I can't be away for long. Let's end.
I went really short. That'll do. I did a lot of filters back then as well, so I went like kind of short. It was like kind of like a parted. It was like semi-parted in one area. Then I went completely flat. That was after college though. I haven't bought. I'm just gonna go die on this.
camera taken out.
Yeah, I can't be asked. I'm looking at pictures of myself. And then I went absolute fucking short. I'm going to show this picture because we were looking at pretty pictures of that because I'm talking about hair. Look how short my hair was there. That was so fucking short. I hate when my hair was that short.
Enemy remaining.
And then I let it grow out a bit. I technically kind of went back to my original hair for a little while. And plus, I saw that comment. I'm ignoring it for now. Let me actually buy this round. Then I had my stage where I was just always wearing a hat, which, to be quite honest, I don't know why. Well, I know why I don't now because of my own issues, but I'm just not playing. Let me actually play this. I've got 0 kills.
You will not kill my honor.
Dreamer killed. My ultimate is ready.
Last player standing.
Everyone hiding.
Of course. Love that. Alright. Then I let my hair grow out a bit more. What I don't know what my hair does, to be quite honest. My hair has just been all over the place. Still again, not curly.
Changing sides.
What did I do that made my hair curly?
Try something. I'll see it.
Then again, with my hair, I can't really show my hair very well. Let me actually fucking do stuff. I'm just like in between showing you my hair and showing you and playing the game.
That goes there. Ah, this is a nice spot.
Alright. Then my hair got really fucking long. The way it was.
Ah, my eyes are open. I must just slide this boy.
Okay, I'm just getting fucking pushed. Alright, I get to continue looking at pictures. Then
Planted.
my hair was like that. Just ignore how I look, because I look like shit. And I think it was my dad taking that picture. And then my hair was like golden, like orange for a bit. Only for a tiny little bit before I went blue. Which kind of turned out shit. But then it went green, and I like my green hair. I liked when I had green hair. That's really going to be really bad trying to see that one.
Match point.
Then I know I cut the green hair off. Most of these pictures still have me with my hair back and my forehead showing, which I absolutely fucking hate.
They forget their place.
This goes here.
Right, well, they're on the opposite side. Right, you know what? I'm gonna pause that. I'm gonna pause looking at pictures for a minute and actually play the game. Pink present top or cute purple top? Cute purple top. Of course. Of fucking course. Okay, well that's the end. Alright. Some of these pictures of my hair is absolutely horrible. There's... I don't know why I look like that. I look fucking terrible. Then I went short again after that one, and it kind of went back to a weird style. When did I start? There we go. Then I started doing my hair going over my forehead. I really don't want to show these pictures that I've taken of myself. I can do this one. And it's like, all of a sudden, with that, my hair is always like going curly at the front. I know my hair can go curly, but it's normally, when it gets long at the back, it curls at the bottom, but not like how it does on my forehead. I don't know what I did with my hair between... Like, between this picture, which is the 14th of January, and the 29th of January last year. I have no idea what I did with my hair. And hello, Sai, how are you? How's your day going? Hope you have an amazing day. Thank you for the likes, very appreciated. I hope your makeup looks gorgeous. I might as well just go full camera screen actually. Stop the music. I mean, you really don't, because my hair goes all over the fucking place. Like, it just doesn't want to actually do anything. It just wants to be shit. But there are some other pictures of me. Like that one. So then I got my hair really long and then I cut it. But I didn't cut my facial hair. I know now, after I look like Natasha Lyonne. Oh, no, Pixie could look like Natasha Lyonne. It's like, what? um, I was like, what the fuck are you saying? That doesn't help me because my mum's now sending me stuff. Little doggy break. Doggy. She's a twat. Yeah, me too. If you grew your hair, I've been showing you my hair grown. Well, then again, you've been playing Skyblock. Well, here we go. Then I went blonde and had a haircut. So it's kind of like the length now, but my hair was blonde, longer. But over time, I think the blonde became more prominent in my hair. Because like when I got it cut, it wasn't very visible. And then as my hair's grown and I've not used like purple shampoo or anything, it's kind of gone for like a normal blonde that I liked. And then my hair grew too long and then it just looked like I had like weird blonde sticky bits at the end. And then puppies. If people don't know, about April time, but I think it was about like February to April time, one of my dogs had puppies. And they were so cute. I didn't want any, but they were so cute. It's so funny. And then straight after puppies went, I went and stayed at my sister's and looked after her cats. And one of the cats was just very strange with me, but I took a picture of one of my dogs being naughty. Yeah. This is... Oh, that's actually a really horrible picture of me. My little grin, I hate it, but I'll show it. That was the point where like most of the blonde bits were just like at the front and not really doing it. And then I get to this picture in my Gymshark clothes with just little bits of blonde at the front, and then that got cut, and where's a good picture of me? Why are like half these pictures so fucking shit? Or sideways. Perfect. Memory. Yeah, pretty much how my hair is now. It's been like that since about the start of August, which isn't too bad. Just take my headset off for a minute. Like, my hair is not bad at all. It's like, it's a good length. It's a mess per usual, but covered with outfits and hair accessories and perfume. Isn't that what normally it is? To be quite honest. Yeah. But I've got stuff that makes my hair not so much fucking curly, but it also makes my hair really sticky uppy. I struggled on what to wear. I'm going to say this again. I think that's normal. Hello, Emmys? Or Swee? Do you mind if I just call you M? Hello, how are you? How's your day going? Hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome in. We've kind of just... the conversation's been a bit all over the place. Emma's fine. That's good. Well, how are you, Em? Hope you're having an amazing day. What have you been up to? I'm going to get into another game now, because we've had this little conversation and it's over now. So it's just like, I've just been showing like puppies and my hair throughout like 5 years. Do you get your hair done at a salon? If you do, how much do you spend? Jesus Christ. Getting ready for work, so just popping in for a chat. Well, it's good to have you here, so I'm glad to welcome you into my chat. Yeah, for context, we've just had like a weird conversation about hair and hair salons and shit and nails. Why is there like, there's been like 3 potatoes in the last couple of games, which has been, it's been a bit strange, but
I've got all the time in the world.
potatoes, yes. Jesus Christ. Can I ask what you get done and why? Why? Like, I understand, like, looking after yourself and taking care of your hair is good, but I wouldn't pay that much.
They brought along my arch nemesis, Sage. Just kidding. We're like standard nemesises.
Well, that's just rude.
Hello.
That's just rude. And my fault the stylists have the balls to just take more because girls love their hair. That's true. Blame the stylists, yes.
Dropping smokes.
Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
Okay, let's go. I have a lot done. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, is like how much do you actually get done to have it that much money?
She deserves it.
Because like I've had it so I've bleached and toned my hair. I've had it washed and stuff, and that only came to about 100.
Need a drop.
And that was also with like a regular stylist. It wasn't with like the top person.
1-1 right now.
Wash, dyed, cut, and styled, and spent about 550. Hair down. Ah, yeah, that's true. You've got a lot of hair, so it takes a lot to get done. Okay, love that. Toners and yeah, that's fair. Bleach, tone.
Feeling fence. Cutting their vision.
Oh my god, how 3 to 4. To be fair, when did I go and get my hair done? I was there from about, I think, 10 AM and I finished at about 1-2 o'clock. 5 minutes and I'm just out the house. All good. They don't have time.
My ult is ready.
Yeah.
Your hearts are pounding.
To be honest, I understand it can take a while for like anyone to get ready, like dressed, hairstyled, and ready.
You better.
I don't do that for an hour, and I've mostly been talking in chat. That's true. Please text me. I'm ready for you.
Dropping smokes. Like I never left.
Enemy remaining.
Refreshing.
Okay.
Last round in the half.
That me trying. That must be lovely for you. I just wake up and I mess my hair around and done. How long does it take you to brush your hair, Pixie?
Push them into the ground.
I'm actually really curious about that part.
Have one of these.
Love that.
Dropping smokes. Here.
Enemy remaining.
Four in the
Spike down A.
I got this spike.
Yes! Got an ace! Let's go!
Guys.
Switching sides. Point.
Yo, I said it as well.
Thank you, buddy.
It's not like I'll wake up with a giant snarl in my head. That's true, yeah. I know like a lot of people try and take like their time with brushing their hair. Especially like after a shower. They're like brushing and blow drying at the same time. So it kind of like just depends. But yeah, styling would take longer. We're gonna keep rolling.
Yes, they're fond of losing. Dropping smokes. Right here.
Don't see long.
Right here.
Pinging whether they are like gonna grab some lunch, fair enough. Like whatever you're gonna have is great. You're married to the messy mum bum right now, that's fair.
Grenade is live.
After the after.
Last player standing.
Is he really AFK? Yep. I do it because it ruins people's games, so it's
Listen up, you muckers. If
yeah.
I could
For me, whenever I'm trying to style my hair,
take the weekend
because my hair is short, it's gonna be a lot easier. I use like styling powder. It's literally I just put the powder on my hair and then mess my hair up and make it look nice-ish. Nuke head. Oh my god. How old's your son? Is he young? A little baby.
careful here.
Yep, of course. Why are they never on... Why do I have no team ever on with me? He's 3 and little sister is 3 months. That's adorable. So cute. And thank you, Pixie, for hanging out. It's been great. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And I hope the Ren Fair is really fun. I hope you see so many good swords. Do you find the word fun, the world funny in general? Yeah, to be fair, the world is hilarious.
Make peace with yourself before you pull the trigger. No one
Waiting for you so. Made her last, so she forgot to breathe, for example. Jesus.
One more mid.
Spike planted.
What is wrong with the Phoenix, bro?
Yeah, I tried. Oh, Phoenix is alive. It's followers only, so
You must
you have to
follow
follow to be able to be a little Pokemon or something else. It's mostly just due to like bot accounts that come into the chat, and it will just put them on there anyway. So it's just easier to have them on followers only.
I don't quit.
Oh, thank you so much for the follow. Very appreciated. And there's yours. Obviously, if you want to change it, there's a panel. There's a little panel just underneath the stream that you can change it. Well, thank you. I know. So for me, I don't stream very often. I'm trying to at least stream like once a week. This is the most active my chat has been in a while, so it's been nice as well to have people in the chat talking to me. I want to get back into streaming, but I also do work outside of doing this and playing games and just having fun. This game isn't fun, but I like playing it. And it allows anyone who wants to also play it join me if they have enough points. Plus, I just get to listen to my music for a little while, which, to be fair, is pretty quiet.
They know stealing is
I
wrong.
might reshuffle my playlist.
Spike down mid.
Love that. Yeah, because your chatters seem amazing. They are absolutely amazing.
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
Fast lane from Alex to...
Defenders.
Yeah, it's... I'm more of a league. Oh god, there's no hate on you. It's just the game is absolutely awful. In my personal opinion, I don't like the game, but if you enjoy it and like playing it, you are more than welcome to play it. It's like just like how everyone else doesn't like playing this game. I enjoy it to a point. I like the game. I just don't like the people. That's mainly the issue there for everyone, though. That's what you're lacking. Right then. We go straight into another game. Yeah, I do play like other games other than this. Like recently, I want to get back into story games. So I'm probably, I should have said that. I was going to say this earlier, and then I just completely blanked out on it because like other conversations started happening. I'm probably going to, oh, and there's ads. Nothing wants me to say about it. Nothing wants me to say anything. Oh my god. I'll wait till the ads are finished and then I'll mention it.
Is that you? No way.
Alright, welcome back from the ads. My ads should never be too long. Always should just be 30 seconds. I know it's a pain. I absolutely hate ads and I wish I could just get rid of them all, but I can't. Twitch won't allow it. So I've set it to the lowest I can possibly get to them. So like that every hour, I can sub and it's gone. That is true, but only if you want to. It's I never asked for subs. To be fair, I don't know when the last time I got a sub was. So,
Well, that took you a while.
but yeah. So hopefully, sometime when I'm on holiday, because I'm off from the
Was it
13th
traffic?
and onwards from work, I'll be streaming more, and I'm hoping to do some game marathons, go playing through like story games until I complete at least the main story.
No.
So it's just like
What?
it's like it'll be like Tomb Raider, it would be Uncharted, stuff like that. Okay. Tomb Raider, yes, Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is one of my favorite games, so it's like I'll definitely be playing through that. Uncharted, I've got what other games have I got that are like story based? Let me have a look. Detroit Become Human. I've got technically I've got both Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man 2. Technically Toy Story 3 is a story game. I could play that. I've got if I can find them. I've got The Witcher 1, 2 and 3. So I've got quite a few different games that I can actually just easily play. Little child finger straight in my eyeball. Oh no. That is horrible. Is your eye okay? That's the main question.
All three on A. Coming from flank.
Drop in a smoke. Grenade! Drop in a smoke.
The mix trying to be concentrated on a game.
Bye. Bye. One enemy remaining.
You thought you hurt me? Oh no.
We made a mess of ourselves.
Blood, young blood,
They messed up.
blood.
Now we keep them down.
Maya's okay, just streaming. Fair. The voice broke when he said "Mum." Oh, that's so cute. Like, oh, I absolutely love the bear. It does show his bum. Is Phoenix gonna re-peek her? Okay. As soon as I peek to jump around the corner.
Down mid.
And of course there's somebody behind.
Last player standing.
Young blood.
One enemy remaining.
He's flank mid.
Down. But yeah, no, there's like, there was a battle pass item on the game, so like I obviously
Before the switch.
bought the battle pass and we got it and absolutely love it.
Buy up.
It's alright. Literally, it can be really different trying to get this game. Like, the game itself is very competitive. Like, you get the same maps multiple times in a row, like I have had. But then there's not... And there's stuff that's not the worst in the world. Sing, yeah, yeah.
One enemy remaining. Switching sides.
Know that you can do. I mean, to be fair, so am I. Literally, I mostly play this game for fun and to play with people. But when I stream, a lot of the time I'm by myself, which I never like being. But at least people are talking to me in the chat. It's at least distracts me from like most of the shit the game gives. If it was a little different, I wouldn't mind it, but yeah, I enjoy it, especially when I have people to play with.
Dropping smokes.
Okay, love that.
My ult's not ready.
Think you're gold? That's not bad though. What do you mean? He's saying that you're shit at Valorant, but I'm not even in gold. Like, my peak is plat 1, but at the moment I'm not even ranked. But literally, it's just been... I've been stuck in like silver for so long. So when I'm dancing, I'm better when I'm dancing. Yeah, better when I... Yeah. Would be nice if somebody would join me on A, but... Quite higher when I wasn't working. That is true, yeah. Having a job does ruin a lot of stuff.
Dropping smokes. Here. Gun here.
Spike down B.
Of course I bet that. Of course I'm vet and mother, so I don't really play much. Shit. You're doing good with your life then.
Player standing.
How is it being a veterinary? Oh my fucking god! I give up with trying to say a word. What is it like being a vet? Do you enjoy it? Is it a good job? I know working with animals is so nice. You should have seen some of the puppies I was showing on the fucking... Hold on, let me find them so I can actually show you some of the puppies.
Find the weakest link and kick him in the shin.
Yeah. There's so many puppies. That was the last one, and they were by themselves for quite a long time. It's a hard job, but very rewarding. Yeah, I bet. I'm gonna go this side, because...
Right here.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Yep, love this. Love this game so much. It's all good. Honestly, it's kind of helping that it's like... Bill, what time do you work? Because like, I'm not trying to get rid of you. It's just been fun talking to you. So it's just
Attackers win.
So nasty.
well,
Oh wow, now you talk. Crazy.
nights. That's not too bad. So what, have you just come home from work, or are you? It's like head vet surgeon during nights. That sounds stressful, but also kind of rewarding. So obviously, like, if like a what is
Found.
I'm trying to remember what the word is now. An accident is dying, they will see me. Yeah, basically, if something's happened during the night and they need like an emergency vet, you'll be there to help.
All the time in the world.
That's what I was trying to think of. Emergency. Why was I forgetting words? Like, it's not just you. It's between 4 p.m. and 6 a.m. Where are you from, by the way, if you don't mind me asking? Sweden? I'm Swedish, but I live in Yorkshire. Ooh. So you're up with your kids and then off to work tonight. The Yorkshire. Do you enjoy living in the UK? From being Sweden? They call me the Swedish Yorkie. That is a cool nickname, to be quite honest. Because a Yorkie is also
You're very talented.
food and also an animal. Well, a breed of animal. Because you call a Yorkshire Terrier a Yorkie. Sweet, innit? The Swedish Yorkie wants to climb the beanstalky. A chocolate bar. Yeah, there's a chocolate bar called a Yorkie. It's like I to be fair, they're not my most favorite thing in the world, so I don't eat them very often. Okay, love that. They're Smurf straight away. That's fun. Just love getting one taps. Can't do much to help other than probably smoke off certain bits. La 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 la. I'm gonna be alright. I'm gonna be alright, baby. Next time.
Last player standing.
Bam.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, that's good. You're getting one tap like it was. Yeah, literally. I must be a wobble head to be. Well, my head must be massive for people just to one tap it all the fucking time. I'm very much more of like a swear person, so like that's why I keep myself on. I think I keep myself on 18 plus. Shut that. Chat pissed themselves laughing. Nice. I think I just scared the Euro out of his fucking mind. It was apparently really funny. I know mine can get a little bit stressful for people. Because like I'm being really loud and shouty. It's so hard that my tummy hurts. Find your first house by your 21st. Cause I did it, yeah, I did. Do it for kids. I probably should have told them that straight away.
30 seconds left.
Ooh, got no idea who you're talking to. It was lovely meeting you. It was absolutely great meeting you as well. I hope whatever you're doing now is absolutely amazing, and I hope you have a great time. I'll see you later.
The symphony of death. Hurry to get used to.
They're just sitting in stupid spots. On the floor tonight, make my day. Oh, I place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight, make my day. Make my day.
No charges left.
Player standing.
I'm playing like shit right now.
Last round
A
in the half.
place to stay, get your booty on the floor tonight, make my day. I'm gonna turn my camera off for a minute while I open my window. Because I'm getting warm. I've already got my fan on. Okay, camera's turning back on now. You got my knee in the camera as well now. Ish. See him bend to open the window, yeah.
Get out of my way.
Okay, love this game so much. My fan's now. So I've got the fan on right next to me because you can kind of see it. I'm jumping.
Switching
Up
sides.
a little more. Started going on the dance floor.
As much as this world hurt me, it's mine,
Drippy.
and I will kill to defend it.
A place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. Bum 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 ba-dum ba-da-dum ba-dum 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 ba-da-dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum. Bum 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 ba-da-da-da, bum 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 ba-da-da-da, bum.
Drop in a smoke. Drop in a smoke.
Last player standing.
Okay, I just keep getting one tapped.
Dropped.
Jam, pump it up, pump it, pump it, pump it.
The last thing they'll see before they die. Lucky them. Hola.
Make my day. Place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight.
No peeking. No peeking.
Spike down B.
Spikes here. Spikes spotted B.
Well, they're not there because I've just come from there.
Last player standing. 30 seconds left.
Know what you're waiting for. Don't put my love on hold.
Spike planted.
Dropping smokes.
On hold.
Scout destroyed.
Say about it. To my office. Let's take a look at your baby cook.
Match point.
So we're sitting right now, I'm speaking around with all the girls in town. It's so put my love on hold, love on hold. Put my love on hold. Don't put my love on
Drop in a
hold.
smoke. Get out of my way. No peeking. Here, catch.
Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
I fucking knew they were there.
Portal closed.
La la la. Oh well. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Yeah, to the Hollywood signs. Don't know if I'll make it. So watch out, will I take it? Tonight, tonight. Yeah. Whatever. Umbran, hi, how are you? How's your day going? Hope you have an amazing day. What have you been up to? Tonight, tonight. Got a party on the rooftop, top the world tonight, tonight. Got the Hollywood sign. I don't know if I'll make it. So watch out, could I take it? Whoa. Drop it, please, drop it down. But a bit of Warzone now loading. Val, nice. How are you? I'm doing okay. I'm getting through the day. I've been having fun. Had a nice big chat earlier. Obviously people have been busy, so people are lurking, which I respect. Yeah, no, I've been having a good time. I'm leveling up my account still. I'm almost get up to 290, level 290. Soon I'll be at level 300, and that'll be even more sad. Look at the meow shine. But you know, I need to put my level 284. Nice. To be fair, I've not been playing Valorant much recently, only due to the fact that I've not been really, like, other than playing with Switch, it's just been kind of like a I'll be playing it just with people or on stream. I wouldn't play it outside of stream. I've been thinking about doing a comp because I've not actually done my comp game yet. And I also kind of bought the, you know, why does it say it's not equipped when it is equipped? I have it equipped, it's there. Bless me. Yeah. Like, in the last couple of days, I've mostly been playing Uncharted or watching The Flash. Don't play what? Valorant? Play what? I'm confused. Yeah, I don't play Val that much. I play it with Switch when I'm not. And you, but yeah, because I wanted the butterfly knife. Leave me be. I wanted the knife. As you can see, I've got 4 butterfly knives. So don't judge me. Look, I have money to spend. I have a job that I can spend money doing. So I'm in my server voice chat. It is also a redeem to join, by the way. Mostly due to the fact that most of the time I just say like people are more than welcome to join, but if I have it there, people know that there is a way to join it. So hello, here for now. Turns down, just up below the low. More. I just want to show you something. Oh, that's fair enough. Let me drag you in. You can show me. Hello. Actually, this is perfect timing because you can test to see if my stuff works. You talking? Because I can't hear you.
No, I am. Yes.
Oh, there you are.
I was totally not muted. No.
You were totally not muted.
No, me never.
How you been? You been alright?
Never. Okay, so
My fan stopped
wait,
blowing on my blind. You good?
please don't mind the all the shit on my table.
There's a little snake.
look
There's a
at
little
this.
snake. Oh. Ooh. That's nice.
I know, right?
I really want to get
And
like a custom knife, but
It costed exactly the same as a Valorant knife.
it costs about £90.
No, 60 euros.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, it isn't.
I want to
I bought
get
it in
one of
Amsterdam.
I want to get one of the butterfly knives from Valorant so I can like twizzle it around.
I love this knife so much. It also has no like edge right now. I wanna change that. But
It's got no
yeah.
what?
It doesn't have a real blade.
Or technically, it's a custom knife. It wouldn't have a real blade.
Yeah, I know.
Just get the haircomb butterfly knife IRL. Sure, go so hard. That would be amazing. I do own the butterfly knife. Not the butterfly. Oh yeah, I do have the butterfly knife. I've got the comb
I
butterfly
also got
knife.
this for it. Can just put it like this.
Look, I've got the comb in the game, so it would be great to have it outside of the game as well.
Why don't I see my own camera?
Oh, you've got it like on a stand.
That fucking trips me off right now. There.
Huh?
Okay. Can't see.
Do you mind if I show it on stream?
No.
Okay. Oh shit! I can't even show you. I can't even show it on stream. I've got a setting that makes Discord hidden.
Oh, I see.
Hold on. I can turn it off. There we go. Look at the knife. That looks so nice.
Good as shit.
I like the dragon on it.
Yeah, I know. Ah, I bought it in a fantasy shop.
I really want to get one.
Even
Because I like...
more,
The thing is, I like swords
more
and I like
money,
knives,
at
and I
least
really
let's
want to...
go.
I really want to get at least one sword and one knife, but it just
Oh,
it costs
wait,
money.
do you know my sword?
No,
Wait.
you have a sword. Big box.
Don't worry about it.
It's a big box.
It is a big box, yes.
What type of sword is it? It's just like a regular sword.
Yeah. Ah,
How heavy is it?
not really heavy.
Not really heavy. It's just like a custom
No.
on it. It's not actually sharp, is it either?
No, it's not. I got it from my grandparents.
Ooh, nice. I technically did get a weapon from my grandparents, but it's not a sword.
What is? Wait, what is it then?
It's a boomerang.
Oh, and
I don't even know where it is. I think it's in one of my boxes up on my wardrobe.
I really like this.
I want to get
Especially with the.
I want to get some shelves sorted out in my room, but there's nowhere to put it other than over my bed. So, because what 3 out of the 4? Well, 3 out of the 5 walls. Oh, I would say 4 because one of them has a fucking window, so I can't really use that one. But
Yeah, that makes
3 out,
sense.
3 out of the 4 of them are
No, I need to
hollow,
back later. Yep.
so
later.
I can't put anything on them.
Fuck.
What are you
can't.
doing? You struggling?
I'm trying to put it somewhere because I don't wanna put it on the. I'm just putting it on the ground. I can't be
Fair
asked.
enough. Yeah, that looks good.
Let's go back here.
Alright, let me go put my let me put my Discord hidden again from stream. Because I don't want to have it on like a display capture and then accidentally go into my Discord and accidentally show stuff I shouldn't, like DMs.
Are you scared?
You should see some of the DMs I fucking get from people.
Crazy.
People are not normal.
No, they're not. It's true.
I mean, if you want, you can join me. You don't need to redeem if you don't want to.
I can't.
You can't.
I don't have 140,000 on yours, like on Tandem.
Yeah.
I only have 2.8k.
Yeah, you can still join. It's fine.
Cool.
It just means I need to stream more and people need to watch me more.
True.
Hopefully, I'm going to be streaming a bunch over, not next week, but over just 2 weeks afterwards.
Yo, Frontier Marshal? Bruh.
Who is Frontier Marshal?
Match found.
In my shop.
Oh, nice.
And I have max Kano credits. Fuck. And nothing good in my shop.
Yeah, to be fair, I've got some nice stuff in my shop, but most of it's shit. Why do you think I buy the bundles? Why do you think I buy the bundles that I like? And
I think you just
butterfly
buy all
knives.
bundles.
I will not. That's too much money. I can I'll only get the ones that I
Hello
like.
team, hello.
Hell no.
Hello.
I'm tempted to
How
mute
are
them
you today?
already.
I am. They're already gone.
I'm already muting them all.
Why?
They're already gone. I cannot be asked.
Don't blame you.
They were like, they were double, like, they were peeking my mic, my fucking headphones.
Yeah, but yeah. I want to do like some like game marathons, like play a game, like trying to beat the entire game throughout a stream. Because I've got a bunch of like story mode games.
Which ones are you thinking about?
So I've been currently playing through Uncharted, so I might do that on stream. I've got 3 Lara Croft games that I can easily play. Like the first, like not I'd say the first one, the first newer one, which came out I think in 2011, 2013. It says on Steam. And then I've got Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Then I've got The Witcher 1, 2, and 3.
Ooh, that won't. Yeah, have fun if you want to stream that. In one stream.
Then I've got Uncharted. I've got Hogwarts Legacy that I could play through as well.
Ooh, I haven't touched that in ages.
And I've got Stray as well. What else have I
To be
got?
fair, but Hogwarts Legacy, I started playing it. I stopped for like a year. Then I loaded my save file. I was just so confused that I immediately installed the game because I didn't know what I was doing.
And then what was the other one that I've got? I've got both Marvel Spider-Man's Remastered and 2. So I could play them as well, maybe. But like, I'm not gonna be doing like marathon after marathon, because that would be hours and hours of playing the games. So I'll probably play one every other day, maybe, or every other couple of days. Okay, my aim doesn't want to work, so.
Mine neither. It's fine. Oh hell, fucking no.
Oh hell no!
80. Man, that was my kill, you bitch.
If I may, I'll go in first.
Where is he?
Open out their numbers.
I haven't played Valorant in ages.
Technically, I could also play like Toy Story 3. Because Toy Story 3 has, I've got the Xbox version of it on my computer. So I could technically stream that as well. It's just very visual glitchy.
One enemy remaining.
Ah, got him.
I think.
Yeah, they had a Vandal. I got a Vandal. Well, to be fair, I've already got the Vandal anyway. Do you want this Vandal and I'll buy my own?
Yeah, sure.
Because it's literally the exact same gun. Bum ba bum 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 ba bum 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 ba ba da dum.
What does the number mean?
It's how many kills you got.
I don't have 28 kills. What the fuck?
28?
You expected.
It says on my side. Hold on, you pull. It said 0x. 00x.
Yeah, but I didn't do this year.
Oh, that's the champions. Champions 28.
Oh, the date. I see.
I think so anyway. Hey, now you got 1 kill.
Oh man, what the fuck?
Oh man. So way back in the mine, got pickaxe swinging from side to side, side to side.
Oh, what the fuck? I bought the Phantom as well.
Hmm?
The Cadier's Phantom.
Fair enough.
Ooh, they are there.
Of course, Jet's the one that kills me again. You know, I'm
It
just gonna.
Yup. This is better as well.
Well, I know they're a Smurf. They're blue. Oh, in my belly.
The second he looks away. How is he still alive?
Spray so hard and still didn't kill him.
Switching sides.
I would have died immediately.
I would have as well. Or have been dying immediately.
I'm gonna do some stupid shit.
Some
Wait, they have a
stupid shit.
jet. That doesn't make sense. And they have a raise. Never mind.
A jet and a
And a neon.
raise.
Fuck.
And a phoenix. And a clove.
No, the jet and raise and neon can easily jump on the wall here. That's the problem.
Mm.
That
Unless you
one's
place
two.
the wall in a bit of a weird way, you might be able to.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm gambling on that and stay with the shorty behind the wall, but with 3 people jumping on it, no. They're very much here.
One enemy remaining.
Okay, I survived way too long. Holy. I hit 126, 26, 34, and 84. That's
Central
crazy.
Industries, I need to
I hit
save
everyone.
me.
Let's go.
Nice. I just one-tap neon, which was nice. Yours of all the kings had the queens on the throne. We will pop champagne and raise a toast.
I can't jump it. We jump. Okay.
They're here.
Right there.
Chamber wins again.
Spike down B.
Oh, they are inside.
Yeah,
Didn't
of course.
take long at all. Imagine.
You got this. Raises on your right. So you just plant not down there, but I'm out on the right hand side.
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
Oh,
It was Clove. I don't know which one it was. I thought Clove was the one planting.
they were.
Point. Watch their movement. Study their patterns. Exploit whatever you can.
Both was planting, I think, yeah. Sure, yup, just spray through my wall and hit me in the head, it's fine.
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
Damn. Crazy.
Shukriya. Thank you. Ultimate ready. Yes. Disaster averted.
I've got my ult now.
I'm useless.
We're not useless.
Watch me.
You can get an ace here now. Trust.
I can die immediately by the race spraying my wall down and hitting me in the head with the next bullet.
Nah, you got this. in the mirror. Go, okay. Jersey, but again.
For you, hermanita.
They're rotating to AM. Oh, got spike there.
Spike down, attacker spawn.
Your duty is not over.
One enemy remaining. My turn.
Where's my turn? Oh, there's my turn.
One enemy remaining.
I did nothing that's wrong. Let's go.
Sudden
I hit Jet in the feet, and that was it.
I revived our ice and he died immediately again. Let's go.
Well,
he ran into the enemy and died again.
Superstar. Star. Oh look, potato guy.
Is it okay?
Oh, I've been playing. I played like multiple games like with or and against him.
Oh.
Didn't know he was actually playing the game. I just didn't realize. Sense into your ego. Also, I feel like this Jet's kind of gone a bit shit. I'm guessing they're going A.
I'm not sure.
spike planted. Enemy remaining.
Of course. I think I knifed the clone.
I saw that, yeah.
Love that.
Defenders win.
It just sinks in the floor.
That is funny though. Knife. I love doing knife kills. Sense into your ego. You did better than me though. So
Somehow, yeah.
by like what, 2 points? Which isn't bad. Yeah, 2 points. I got like 6 assists, which pisses
I don't
me
know
off.
how you did get it.
Like, the amount of kills I could have got, and I just keep getting assists. I hate this map as well. This map is horrible.
Yeah, Fixture is just... Yeah, it's Fixture.
I always just go like Cypher here because I've got some traps that I know that I like.
I don't play much Duelist anymore because I'm not hitting my shots anymore.
I barely ever go duelist. The only times I ever go duelist is if we need one or I just want to play Raze. And even then, I'm shit like the
Assalamu alaikum.
Alright, I'm muting them already. Because I don't know what they've just said.
Hmm?
The neon. I don't know what they've just said, but
I think that's hello no.
I don't know.
Or
But
good day. I'm not sure.
I'm not risking it.
Fair.
Am I doing this right? Well, at least it doesn't look like we've got any Smurfs on the game. That just means people know how to play this game. Who have been playing it for a little bit, not Smurfing.
Wingman stole my wallet.
What? Wait a minute, what?
Oh,
Give me my wallet back. What the fuck?
Yes, this will do. That goes there.
I need my wallet.
where are we going?
I'm going to the other side.
Going which site?
I don't know.
It's helpful.
Neon, please. Please stay neon. Thank you very much.
Spike down A.
Give me that spike. Thank you very much. Okay.
Last
Fix it,
player
chat.
standing. Enemy remaining.
Out of five.
Okay.
Nice.
You forget. I always play high stakes.
4K first round, let's go. Now I'm gonna play like shit the rest of it.
This goes here.
Ooh, I can buy Outlaw. Let's go. I don't even know how, but okay.
You can always buy an outlaw on the second round as long as you didn't die.
but with full shield,
Yeah?
and I did die.
No, if we didn't lose.
Ah. I hit him. Damn. That was one shot. That was one shot, 2 kill.
Enemy remaining.
Where are they going? Please, women. Thank you. I'm at point. I bought Sentinels of Light Vandal.
That goes there.
Can I have your Vandal as well,
This
please?
goes here.
Oh,
Can I have your Vandal?
Oh, this is a nice spot. I need this. My thanks.
there you go.
Ooh. I shouldn't go the other side on my own. What are you doing? I'm getting body blocked, I love it here.
Okay. Of being 9-0.
Last round in the half.
Bend your gas. Don't look back.
Yes, this should do.
I told you stop players.
There.
I have ult. I'm gonna just ult immediately.
Nice.
Because I think maybe 2 will push here anyway, so...
Normally
not,
2
I
will
just get
push
back.
there. It
Yeah.
would it normally at least Sage
Joke's over. You're dead.
Oh.
and Phoenix.
Joke's over, you're dead. No, I'm dead because I can't hit for shit!
Spike down.
Man! Okay, how? How was that a kill?
Enemy remaining.
My ultimate is ready. Where is everyone?
Keep it guards.
Damn. What?
Cheating!
Switching sides.
I don't understand this game. I just want to tap him in the head.
It's cheating.
Yes, this should do.
I saw it.
There.
I think I'm just stupid and push.
Yeah.
Camera taken out. Here. Why destroy?
Got spike?
Spike down A.
Okay, sure. Yep.
Out.
Sage is there and Spike is on A. Come on, Jet.
You sure?
Spike was there, I killed the Reyna. Oh, yep.
Last player
Yeah.
standing.
14-1.
14-1. It was 14-0 until Sage killed me.
And Jet will die as well.
Spike planted.
Right. How have they gone all the way to A?
Zipline.
Damn, I could have gone like so far in this game without dying.
You did a whole half.
I did like almost like over the whole half. No,
Yeah.
no, it was the whole half. It was the first half that.
It was the first half and like 3 kills. Or 2 kills.
14-1. What the fuck is this shit?
Camera taken out. Why destroyed? Even careful now.
Spike down B.
Oh, of course they're full on pushing me because I keep killing them all. The Spike was on tower though, so
2 tower.
Spike planted.
Okay. Sure.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
What the fuck?
down.
Alright, homies, chill.
Alright, they're dead.
I'm going with you. I don't want to be with the
Here.
the chat.
That goes there.
I'm gonna go Phantom now.
This is a nice spot.
That's stupid.
Yes, this should do. Okay.
Let's still go in now.
Together. Yeah, probably. Or they just rush here just to come get me.
Oh, Philly's zipline.
Spikes on the zipline.
One enemy remaining.
Oh my fuck. Nice. 18 and 2. Crazy.
I hate this game. Like, how can I go from... This is my most hated map as well, and I've done 18-2. And how do I go from like 6-5 to 18-2? It just doesn't make sense.
Inconsistency.
More than fucking that.
Wait, before you queue, give me a second. What agent contract do I want to do?
I can't move my tears. I can work a miracle. Work a miracle. Oh, keep me like a gnome. Death. Let me know when you want to get into a game.
Yep, sorry. I don't want to back.
Tastes like Uma Thurman. Bury me till I confess. Uma Thurman, and I can't get you out of my head. Well, we should go restart my playlist. There we go. Well,
I don't
what's
like
up?
most of the Asian contracts.
What, who have you not got?
Like all of them.
So who do you normally play? Gecko, Sage, Reyna, Sage, Clove, Sage, not Sage, Sky, Sage, ISO, Cypher, Sage, Neon, Sage. So you play a lot of Sage. Do you like Sage, or do you...
I don't like their contract.
So who have you unlocked, or have you unlocked everyone?
I have unlocked everyone, yeah.
Yeah. You just don't like what they've got on them.
Yeah.
I like Vipers.
Oh yeah, Viper Shorty. Ooh.
Viper's got a really nice shorty.
Yeah, I should get Shorty.
Who else have I got?
I will buy tier 6 W. And I'll save 5k for next shop. That's cool.
KO also has a really nice classic.
I only have a good classic. Nothing goes over 9 lives. Nothing goes over the furry classic.
The what?
The furry classic.
It's the fairy classic.
No, I can show you.
confusion.
Go in a game. I'll show you.
Alright. Because I've got do 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 do. That's my classic.
Also a good one.
Can't even remember what it's called.
Match found.
And I can't check now. Not so fast. I let
binder.
you in, held you close. Clove. Players 1, 2, 3. Lovely.
Okay,
People have their names hidden.
Should I play the annoying bitch or the annoying bitch?
The other annoying bitch.
Okay.
What was going to be the first one?
Cypher.
Yeah. They're both annoying in equal value.
Yep.
Dummy Mombi. I love Goth Girl. Road to Bronze. And a shark. Whereas we've got ISO, Reyna, Phoenix.
Okay, here. Look at this. Look at this. Don't you cannot tell me this is not a furry classic.
It is. The Viper pussy.
I can have Viper, Reyna, Jet, or Reyna. Wait, I forgot race. I said Reyna twice. I'm
yeah, you
stupid.
just say Reyna. You said Reyna twice. What did you say before? Like, did you say new Reyna?
Huh?
Like you said them out, and then I can't remember what you said for the second Reyna.
Just Reyna as well.
There's like 3 smokes all in one.
Interesting. I think they're A, I think.
Yeah. Okay, love that.
Don't like it here. I had no good weapon.
I'm gonna be a little bitch. Because if they are coming here again, I'll be ready for them.
Take your fucking... Okay, no. You should... Okay, sure.
Huh?
You should just take a fuck... Wait, what is it called? Bucky. And go in the fucking smoke.
That's what I'm doing, but I'm doing it with a Spectre because I hate shotguns and I know I will fail.
Oh, sure. Fair.
That's if they're here though.
No, they're not. They're here. On me. Yeah, they're smoking everything.
Okay.
I didn't smoke my turret though!
I just had Cypher on A for some reason. Be loved by bound to me.
Oh, you bitch!
Oh, you got no.
Of course I got knife. What do you mean?
Can you tell how bad I play this game?
No. I haven't seen
No,
anything.
no, it's just, I went, what was it, 14-2?
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm 0-2.
I'm 2-2 with the best of the game, and I was just like, what the fucking ghost?
Like, what is this shit?
Can I have my nade back? Yes, I
Okay,
can.
well, they're
Let's go.
putting smokes down here.
What kind of fuck?
Of course I just, despite spraying on somebody, die. Ooh, ooh.
Look at the carriers.
The pussy is. Did you shoot your own turret?
Yes, but I can't kill it.
Oh, it must have been Omen who shot it then.
Yeah, that one shot it.
Can't use that yet. 30 seconds left. Placing swarm spike planted.
Bomb grenade out. Drop in a smoke.
Really, 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 really bad low.
Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
Why is my keyboard not muting me?
Oh, I got him! Let's go!
Oh, God's sake.
I got my revenge.
My keys aren't muting me. My thing's not working again. God's
Round
sake.
before the switch.
Right.
Don't be cheap.
Let's see.
I'm just happy I got my revenge on Cypher.
Nope. Why is
He
this
killed me
not
and I killed
working
him.
now?
Let's go.
Discord disabled. Why are you disabled for? Alright, it's back on
Oh
now.
no, I can't
Why
make
did it
that joke.
disable
Holy
itself? There we go, I can mute myself now. Shit. God's sake, I haven't bought a gun. I mean,
fuck. Yeah.
No peeking.
I think they're A.
smoke's
I
at
have
her, so
I know exactly.
Good for you, I guess. But I do not care, bitch. Because I do not care very
I'm
about
by myself. Got no support.
Last player standing.
Bomb grenade out.
it. I'm by myself as well.
All by myself. I don't wanna be. I know that you're in the smoke.
No, they saw my turret.
Spike planted.
Why am I not killing this guy? Thank you.
They're planted on the others.
I know. They don't know that though, what the fuck?
Why are
I
they
hit the
playing so
chamber for 150.
strange?
134. What the fuck?
They're playing so
Died to my
weird.
fucking nade.
Too many brain cells
They're
figuring
playing
out.
really, really weird.
Overthinking is just as bad as underthinking.
Yeah. I hit chamber for 140 with my fucking nade.
No, I'm playing like
Die,
ass.
bitch. Nobody's taking spike.
I don't like spikes, so that's why I don't take it.
No whinging. We've come back for worse. I got the spike.
Oh.
Dropping smoke.
Huh. Okay. Thank you for the gun.
Placing swarm grenade.
Probably one there, right?
Yeah, see if anyone's actually on there.
Placing swarm grenade.
Yep. 100%. My fuck.
Alarm out.
Honestly, you could rotate, but
Turn out.
I can't because I can't fucking see.
Grenade.
Wait. Need to-
and then rotate back round to
Yep.
B again.
Yeah, I'm good. No cipher there. She's on fucking
Of course,
teleporter.
he was still there.
He's on teleporter, bitch.
I'm dead, so. And you knew that right from the start.
10 seconds
I
left.
got your gun. And that.
Defenders win.
You're playing so strange.
I went okay. I went like neutral. It's fine. Somehow.
It smells like soil.
300? What do you mean?
300 what? Fucking 05. What the fuck is this?
You're better than Phoenix.
I'm taking a screenshot of that. Because how can I go from 18.2 to 0 and 5? And there's stream proof, which is even fucking worse.
My career is equally bad.
Yours isn't that bad. At least yours is fucking...
I'm consistently bad.
Yeah, you're consistent. I'm not.
But consistently bad is not good.
I mean, you're not consistently bad. You're consistently where you are. It's not bad. It's not the greatest either, though, but... To be quite honest, I think that might have been my last game. I'm hungry and I want to get some food. So I'll probably end stream as well. But thank you for the games. It's been fun.
Yep, thank you too.
Let me see who I can go raid. Here, there's 2 people I can go raid. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a baby by its tail if it's good. There you go. Eeny, meeny, mo. Yeah, I'm just going to go switch, you know. Let's... If you want to join with the raid, these are my raid messages. The first one is mine, my like sub one. The second one is normal. I think I've got a socials. Yep, they're all my socials if you want to come check me out. And I think that's it. I think that's all I need to do. Alright, thank you everyone for hanging out with me today. Very appreciated. Umbreon, thank you again for joining me. It's been fun.
Yep.
Thank you people for the follows and the lurks. And I'll see you all next stream. Let me set up the raid. I forget that I have closed captions on, and it's really fucking shit.
Use closed captions.
Huh?
What is that?
Closed captions, CC. It's like subtitles.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see.
Right, goodbye everyone. I'm ending now.